all the towns that have existed on the Cavern, Citadel has become one of the largest towns to currently exist and not fall into bits and pieces. However, the few months that it has stood, it is now in threat due to two sides that have developed on the power control between the internal staff and the external server staff. The town's massive build, well-found player base, and massive staff selection ranging from its mayor to the many assistants that it has in place are now in threat of crumbling into bits. The question here is what happened to make this great and glamorous city fall to bits? As we explain this, we will go through the history of Citadel and what made it big and what made it to the point it has reached. The beginning of this town was formed on September 19, 2021 by the leadership of Homeopathics, under the guide of building another Carthwastan, after some drama involving the largest town at the time of Dixon. New Carthwastan's goals were generally built up and out as usual. All of the former co-mayors that originally came from the last Carthwastan were given the ranks they previously had. The town spawn was built, the rules were set in place, and the basis of the town's foundation was initiated. Once Aurorium took mayorship of the town, the name was changed from Carthwastan to Citadel in order to create a sense of originality and independence from the other town forms that were formed on the past surface they were on. Plans for projects were set up and recruiting was heavy drawn. The town gained a significant amount of residents over time and made its way to the top fairly quickly. However, in their growth, they had to overcome many obstacles that stood in their way to becoming number one, and one of them was the number one town at the time, Dixon. Dixon at the time was the largest town that existed until November 2021, as it had almost 300 residents that sat in the city. Regards to Citadel, its earliest founding was parallel to Dixon's later existence. Even before Citadel was founded, there have been hostilities to the founding people, as Lexi, the mayor of it, was annoyed by them. While the reason of hostilities to most of them were not explained fully or not explained at all, two known points of it existed towards Xenoblaze and Pongao. Reasons behind this allegedly boil down to an attempted DDoS on Lexi and propaganda against her.
It goes something like this.
All women are queens. If she breathes, she's a thought!
Well, my bonus gone.
Crazy bastard.
During Citadel's reign after it was founded, many of the town's staff were outlawed from Dixon. Nevertheless, this charade ended when Lexi decided to disband Dixon on her own terms and leave the server. With Dixon gone, it freed up space for those in Dixon residents to join other towns. Seeing as many of these ex-Dixon residents were from the same server as the Citadelian staff members were, they joined on board, which led to Citadel taking Dixon's place with the new top town. Citadel had a great start as they continued with their building, planning, and recruitment. Claiming loads of land and gaining residents at a great rate, the town expanded well over 700 plots that include outposts as well as the main city. In the city was the recognizable Citadelian statue that carries the bone sword with the main tough and cobblestone statue. Projects such as the town's mall and Jamal's Tavern were further implemented as plot development took a significant thrust. During this period as well, a high point of politics gained the newest ideals of creating a constitution to guide the town's direction and ultimately led to the largest Towny campaign of the server, in which Citadel held a vote for ranks and positions within the town and nation. Once the November election ended, the The ranks were given out, descriptions were given, roles were put out. This is simply it. Within a week afterwards, the co-mayor Hoodie quit the server and stepped down from his many positions on the 19th of November. While this is due to in-real-life issues, it does pose question as if there was something more so going on. This may become apparent as 2 days later, a blowout between Monkey Man 1202 and Homeopathics within the Citadel's Discord happened. While recordings were done too late to get the full backdrop of this cause, we do have the evidence generalized by Monkey himself on his reasoning.
I'm gonna leave for a while because I don't feel comfortable. I feel like everyone's attacking me personally. I don't appreciate it.
With this noted, he also decided on quitting the server as well on November 21st, 2021. The election was more of an activity booster than anything else, and unfortunately did more harm than good to the town, as 2 staff quit by this time, and a couple of rumors on the town state were spread. One issue that is stated, as Homeopathic suggests, is the Constitution itself. He explains the town would be divided with different roles, basically changing the way the town runs from everyone together to the person in charge and the mayor. Alongside the fact that it gave way to hostilities within the Citadelian staff themselves, it may have not been one of the brightest of moves. Unfortunately, while the projects were going good, it appears that there was a lacking in recruitment as the residency of the Citadel began to tank. While its highest point was at around 250 residents, it slowly began to dip as quickly as it gained them. By December, it already dropped below 200, and as Empire's population mainly relied on citadels, the nation dropped to 2nd place, but the town still remained ahead of the others like Milky Way and Wurstbade. Alongside the drop of citizens, it was brought up by Ponga regarding an economical problem with Citadel's size, seeing as a citadel was paying nearly $500,000 in monthly upkeep. This became necessary in the term of downsizing the city. This led to numerous outposts being removed, and keeping those outposts that either were important or those that were owned by the staff themselves. Later on, the downsizing went as far as the Citadel's streets, which all in total reduced it to between 600 and 700 chunks from the near 800 chunks that would have been claimed. As time progressed, the town survived with citizens dropping and projects being sort of half-assed, as the funding of the town was, how you say, poorly kept up. During late December, monetarily the town's mayorship had some roughness to it as Urium was more inactive, and in this moment, her, Acorn, and Homeo would be putting money into the town themselves to keep it from collapsing. Eventually, Urium solved this problem by granting Homeo mayorship of Citadel since he was more active, and from here on, the town remained well balanced and fairly active.
Psych! Gotcha, bitch!
Citadel suffered a significant setback between the 13th of January and the 15th of January, between these two at least. The setback involved what appeared as a coup d'etat against Homeo to retake the mayorship. This insurgence consisted mainly of Urium, Monkeyman, and Pongao, and whether their intent was to replicate the January 6th insurrection or not, what we find is 2 sides and a poor guy in the middle. The entire event can be laid out as this without really pushing anyone's buttons. The 2 sides are grouped as this. The Dark Cry conspiracy generally points to Monkeyman lied to the server staff that the town was going to be deleted under Dark Cry's influence, while the Patix conspiracy points out that Dark Cry lied to staff about that Homeo would delete the town because he didn't care for the people and only cared for the money and builds.
I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
Eventually it just boils down to a dick measuring contest with fingers pointing out who's smaller. However, there is a neutral side to this mess, as Hoodie states himself.
See, they're both like making up stuff about each other and like putting words in each other's mouth to some extent. And they're just making such a big desperation attempt to make sure that they're in power and the other side is not.
But here's what we do know that we can confirm without a bias. For a day, Homeo lost his mayorship and was replaced by Urium forcefully by the server's staff. On the 15th, Homeo was given back the mayorship, and the drama only continued as a Discord offline issue. But considering that the server staff and the owner himself had to get involved in order to keep this town from falling to bits, it's safe to say that this is the worst drama on the server yet. As a precautionary measure, the town was given no upkeep for about a week, as Citadel ended up bouncing around many of its residents. Within that given week, job nerfs were soon implemented, and the town staff started throwing fits about it, to the point where the staff started to also counter-complain to them, going as far as saying, delete the town, all because of the Citadelian staff were getting all pissy about the job nerfs. Now, on the side of Hurricane and Monkey Man and such, they supported on the argument that Crafter, the job being nerfed, was a massive income, and it was conspiratorially conspicuated that job nerf was done in order to cut back on the money-making processes to make them all rich and whatnot. So from there on, the question happens as what happened after that? Well, despite job nerfs hitting in, it started to become that the town dipped below 150 and started to get into the range of where Milky Way nearly overtook it. January 25th, 2022, the town of Skaro, with a deal made between the Master Dalek and Homeopathics, merged with Citadel, in which it earned up to 45 residents into the city, which made it just out of reach of Milky Way's grasp to overtake it as the #1 city. This does show one issue that's starting to become very, very visual. Citadel is starting to lose its residents, and while the Citadelian staff try to pretend that Citadel is growing and is still holding up strong, if you had to compete with Milky Way, I don't think your town is as strong as you claim it is to be. So now, what happens in the future for this town? As the server updates itself,
I'll tell you. I don't know.
and with that, folks, it is time to say goodbye. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable entertainment of a documentary. Please go to your home safely and come back again soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and good night.